What's up, world? It's your boy, Mike Muse, for the Conversation, the Mike Muse Show. I am so excited to be in conversation with my next guest. I have been a fan of hers for so long, and she has no idea the thing that I am most excited to talk to her about. It is not Abbott Elementary. It's not all of her Emmy nominations. It's not all of her stellar comedy that she has achieved that has made people laugh for so long. It's not about any of that. And she's here to talk about pet care and insurance and all the good things because we love our pets, but I don't want to talk about that just yet. I want to talk to Lisa Ann Walter about her appearance on Celebrity Jeopardy. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Get into it.
I am such a fan of Jeopardy.
Thank you.
And when I saw you pop on, do we still say DVR? I DVR it every day.
Whether it's right or not, just say it.
Yeah, I record it.
You know what? They just come up with too much new stuff.
Yeah, I can't keep up. So I record it every single day because I'm a geek. And so I go home and watch Jeopardy to relax, right? And when I saw you, I was like, no way. And you became a hero.
Thank you.
What's up, Lisa? So you're a nerd.
It turns out I'm really smart.
I mean, you have one. I think comedians are smart.
They are. If you notice,
they're smart.
The percentage of comics on Celebrity Jeopardy is higher than really anything else. Than sportscasters or actors or whatever, because we have to know a lot about a lot of different things. And also people that are funny tend to be smart.
Yeah, they are.
So I had smart parents. My mother was taught in downtown D.C., school teacher, and my father was a NASA physicist.
What?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's just geek all the way out then. I did nuclear chemical research back in my past life.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I love all these things in NASA. What did your mom teach?
She taught everything. Her first job was in a Pennsylvania mountain one-room schoolhouse. Really, my dad was getting his PhD, and she was the one that was working to support the family. And so she taught everything from kindergarten through senior year of high school in a school so little they used to let the kids go during the harvest.
Whoa.
And they had an outhouse.
No,
and she had to tell them, no, you don't build the outhouse upstream from the school. You build it downstream from the school.
Kind of smart.
Yeah, exactly. So she was the genius of that place. And then she went on and taught, basically like Melissa Schmente. She taught second grade, third grade in D.C. for a couple of years. And then she started doing homeschooling for kids that were home because they were sick or whatever.
Wow. And homeschool now is so popular.
Yeah. Not like that.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Yeah,
no?
She wasn't homeschooling like a religious fanatic or anything.
Oh yeah, not like those.
She did though.
Yeah.
We lived in Germany for a couple of years when I was a kid because my dad was on loan to a scientific institute to dissect the moon rocks.
Wait, what?
I know.
Wait, so talk to me about a Sunday dinner.
Let me tell you what.
What is the conversation like when you were growing up at a Sunday dinner?
All I'm telling you is that we are the only children I know that on a family trip to on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Dad would pull over on the highway to discuss rock striations from the Pleistocene era.
No way.
And expect us to be interested. We were not.
Yeah, I was going to say.
My mother was the one, and I said this when I was on Celebrity Jeopardy. She was a teacher all the time. So when we were in the car listening to talk radio, which I hosted talk radio for 3 years on KFI in LA.
Oh, so you understand it.
Yeah, I grew up with it and I love it. It's your partner. It's your you're welcome. Thank you for doing what you do. Because people rely on that company in the car. They rely on it when they're running their errands. You become a person, you can't hear them, but they're talking to you. You know what I mean? They're having the relationship. So she would listen to whoever it was, Dr. Art Uleen, and then all of a sudden it was kids, diverticulitis. And then we'd get a whole lecture on that or on the history of the Tudor royals in ancient England. And I learned to love learning for that. And also because she taught me to read when I was 3. So I was kind of ahead of the game figuring out that I could learn about all this different stuff, and that's why I know
was it
a lot
normal
of useless
for you,
stuff.
or did you see it as different as a kid?
It was normal for me as a kid. You know when it became weird? When I got to high school, and I was already a feminist. I was already, reading. I was doing marches for the ERA in D.C., and I was very active and was writing letters to the Washington Post, and then I got to high school. And I was like, why can't I just be like Supercell and all these other girls that just oh my God, Jimmy, you're so funny. Why can't I just giggle at all the stupid crap the boys say and not top them, not be funnier, not be smarter? I just want to giggle and be liked. And they wasn't having it because, listen, first of all, my gay guy friends we were already like running the world and going downtown and going to clubs.
Yeah.
And my black girlfriends weren't having that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really, that's not who I was in my soul. Yeah. So I couldn't, even if I tried, I'd go to school and be like, I'm just going to try to be stupid.
Yeah.
And I would make it till about second period. And then I'd blow it. So
I knew I liked you.
Yeah, I just became myself.
I was that kid who I didn't skip class at all. Like I just refused to skip school. But there was 2 times I got permission to skip school, and every time I got permission from my parents before I actually did the illegal thing.
We're
to
doing
skip
a walkout to protest the illegal use of stun guns, and they'd be like.
Like, it's fine. It's okay. One time I asked if I can go to Taco Bell. It's
okay, so not noble.
But the second one you might appreciate. The second one was I asked my parents if I can skip school. I had a car when I was 16, so I was able to drive my own stuff. And I asked them if I can skip school to go see he was at the time President Bill Clinton speak at Michigan State, right?
I love that.
In the middle of the morning, middle of the day. So
That's nice.
I got permission to skip school.
That's great.
To go see our president talk. And so I knew I liked you and wonkingness.
Yeah, I was such a
kid.
Political wonk.
Yeah.
We were active in my family because of the proximity to, downtown and everything, but also I was stuffing envelopes from the time I could sit up. This was when the rolls were not digital. It was a giant book, and you had to like scroll down, and I'd cold call people like, have you considered voting for Victor Crawford? Like some little kid. People like, what the hell's happening here?
Yeah.
Who do they have calling?
Yeah.
But I was precinct chairman for Jimmy Carter. And the youngest in the country. I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and Hillary Clinton have a lot in common because she did the same thing. I don't know if it was for Carter. I forgot. It might have been Nixon. I can't remember.
It was probably the one before that.
I think it was Nixon.
Humphrey.
One of them that she used to intern
wouldn't have
for,
been Nixon.
like in high school and in college when she was at Yale. And so the funny thing about Hillary Clinton is that, everyone was kind of shocked. Not everyone. You weren't, right?
No.
But a lot of people were shocked when she actually got into politics. But she was actually the one that was supposed to be elected official, right? She was going to run for governor and senator, and she happened to meet this charismatic guy named Bill Clinton, and then she became expected to bake cookies as the first lady, and she wanted no parts of that.
That was one of the reasons why I was so for her was the absolute castigation of her for everything from cankles to her headbands wrong, and I'm just like, can you just maybe... National health care, y'all, which is really the reason why they were after her.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not supposed to be talking about this.
No, we're not.
Is this okay?
Oh, no, it's absolutely okay. We can talk about anything you want on my show.
That's good.
We haven't leaned into any positions, and you haven't either, but it's just the idea of we're just talking about our constitutions and our backgrounds, right?
Yes, of course.
And how to have an understanding of that.
Yeah.
I get a
lot that's always been... I mean, this is the reason why I'm an activist for a number of things. Yeah. I go to D.C. and I talk about... I just did a big speech in front of early childhood educators, and I went to the Hill to talk about federal workers, and I lobbied for... I'm a board member of the SAG-AFTRA and I chair the women's committee there, and I went down to lobby for AI protections. So I'm an activist for a whole bunch of different things, and that's what kind of gives me juice. That's what drives me, is the things that I care about.
I just want to, before this interview is even over, I usually wait till the end. You have to come back to the Mike Muse Show multiple times per year so we can unpack all these issues.
Thank you. I would love to.
In particular, AI.
Yes.
So I've been a Google tech policy fellow for the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Focused on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and big data, and how can Congress create the right appropriate policy. Before generative AI became popular. Nobody knew AI when I was learning and involving and looking at policy of it. It was over there in the dark in the corner.
Yeah, well, that's how they'd like to keep it.
But it's no longer in the dark over there in a corner.
Right.
And so for you to talk about that is very, very impressive. Talk to me.
That's all we want is for there to be protections that make sense for everybody.
If you can, I would like for you to do the heavy lifting here because I never want to be instructive, right? I never want to be custodial with my audience. But I oftentimes get so many questions about, Mike, how can I help my kids get interested in politics and not particular ideology or partisanship, but just to be engaged in our democratic process. And I've always talked about my mom and dad and how they're the reason how I was so politically minded so young. And listening to your upbringing, can you just talk to the audience about the importance of talking to your children, right, at an early age about democracy and what's happening in the world around them, and maybe some tips on how they can do that based upon what your mom and dad did.
Well, I mean, I have 4 kids, and
as a mom too,
and they are all of them I would say the older two more than the Gen Z ones, because there's a little bit of a difference in age. And the older ones are both incredibly involved in numerous different things. The younger ones, not so much, but there's time. And they absolutely can discuss all of it. And I think that the important thing to remember is if you start out by saying, what do you want to be active in? What do you want to do? And I'm talking about before you start figuring out what their project is going to be to get them into a college. Like that's not it.
If you could say that again for the people in the back.
Yeah, you're not just, let me start a fund or a foundation so it looks good on a resume for when I apply. That's not the point of it. The whole point of it is that it's not politics that they should be looking at. It's public service, which is what politics should be. It's service. And that can come from your church. That can come from the house. That can come from your neighborhood. That's a next door neighbor who is infirm or is differently abled, and you offer to rake her lawn or shovel the snow so she doesn't slip. Oh, now the sidewalk is messed up and we need to get a city council person here because that impedes her being able to even leave the house. Now you're lobbying. You're helping someone. And that's what our politicians do, and that's what our activism should do, is to help people or animals or the planet in a way that is what you can do or what you care about. And honestly, it only has to be the things that you're passionate about. So if parents, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with sitting in a car with talk radio on and having that be the thing that sparks a conversation. Because the kids are listening too. If I hadn't listened to my mom say all the stuff she had, I wouldn't have won $1 million for the Entertainment Community Fund, which, by the way, is not for actors that are already rich. It's for everybody else and the crews, and it helps them when we have a pandemic or a strike, which we had, all of those things. So I think the thing to do is to listen to your kids, hear what they're interested in, and then look out into the big, wide world of possibilities of what they can do to give back, to help, to be of service. And then that's going to generate their involvement in the bigger picture, which is the politics that forms policy.
Audience, now do you believe me? Now that Lisa Ann Walter said it, now do you believe me? Thank you. That was beautiful. And thank you for helping just educate individuals on how to find it their way. And how you did it was so great.
Yeah, and it might be different from what you care about. Like as a parent, that's one of the hardest things to do is to take yourself out of the picture. You might care about, you're caring about the cleaning the ocean, and the kid's like, I don't care about that. I want to make sports safe for young people, and they're getting damaged, and they need to have better gear. Like let them drive it.
And you said something really interesting about pet, and I think it's about how to I'm going to use it as a case study, if you don't mind, because I do want to talk about pets here in a second. But I think that would be a good example in terms of how the average person can find something they like, and then how can they find ways to advocate that for. But just a point of personal privilege, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How did you prepare for Jeopardy? And here is the reason why I said this.
Because you want to be on it?
Yes, but here's the reason why I'm very nervous, right? And so my goal in life, I swear to God, are you ready? I only wanted to be famous enough just to go on Celebrity Jeopardy because I hadn't done enough work, I felt, consistently to answer the final question, right?
That's so wild.
In a weekly basis, I probably get the final question right maybe once or twice a month. And so I'm too nervous to actually go on the non-Celebrity.
You know what? I don't want
to be embarrassed.
I'm going to give you a clue.
And my weakness is like 19th century literature. When they go to that category, I'm fucked. And then geography of rivers,
but listen, you don't
need cities, I can't do that.
For the regular, geography is rough for most Americans. They want me to come on the tournament, Tournament of Champions. Tournament of Champions.
Great.
I couldn't do it this past year because we were shooting. We had to make up a bunch of stuff from the fires, so they wouldn't give me the time off. But I'm still planning on doing it next year. And as I've told them numerous times, losing with great aplomb in the very first game. But the thing to remember is this: I actually kill it on Final. I don't necessarily do the other ones. Final is even on regular Jeopardy, I get almost every single Final Jeopardy question correct.
So you're better than me. I got it.
No, it's not that.
It's
no,
fine.
Listen.
You're smarter, you're
this
better.
Is what
I get
it is.
You're funnier.
You're probably listening to the clues and going, I know the answer to this. I don't know the answer to that. Many times in Final Jeopardy especially, context is how you get it. The reason I knew Final Jeopardy on the celebrity thing was What 1936 Mary Roberts Reinhardt novel created a 4-word literary trope, blah, 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 something else? Didn't need the rest of the question. 4 words. This was the important part of that. Sorry that I missed. Where a maid dies or somebody dies, a chef dies. I'm like, okay, it's a household staff worker. 4 words, literary trope, old. The butler did it.
Yeah.
Boom. Not maybe because my mother loved reading mystery novels and have 4 going at a time, but it's because it's saying that I knew. It popped into my head. I didn't question it. I didn't go, that can't be it.
Yeah.
I went 4 words. Maid, murder, butler did it.
Yeah.
And that's how you guess most of the final. The clue usually will tell you what it is, and then your job is to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And let your brain just find it, because it's in there. You don't know why it's there. You don't know where you got that info. It's just there.
Yeah. You're giving me hope.
Yeah. And practice buzzer.
And practice buzzers.
Yeah.
I'm going to be DMing you a lot on tips that I would
please
need.
Do.
Happy
to help.
So we're going to go from there. Now, on audience, the reason why she's really here, and I really do want to use this now as a case study, I think it ties in.
No, I'm here because I really enjoy talking to you.
Yeah. This is good. Thank you so much. I think it'll be a good way to tie into a case study in terms of how to get people in America to understand things they want to advocate for is pet care, right?
Yeah.
And insurance.
Yeah.
I love animals. I have so many friends who love animals. In particular, their dogs.
Yes.
And as their dogs begin to age, it gets more complicated for them.
Yeah.
Right? And decisions need to be made. But in some instances, in particular, even my sister, with the recent passing of her dog, they tried to extend her and her son. They tried to extend the life as long as possible.
Right.
But eventually.
Right, of course. No. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been a pet owner as long as I've been alive. I've had big dogs my whole life growing up. Then I had a cat for 18 years. I never had cats. I didn't know anything about them. That poor cat got pregnant the first time it ever had a heat because I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And then I saw her sleeping on the next door neighbor's air conditioning vent outside my house in D.C., just spooning with some big orange cat. And I went, ding, okay, I get what you were doing.
Context clues.
Yeah, context clues. Right. So, but there you go. Now you have unexpected costs, right? With my dog that I have now, Buster, terrible name for him. He's very serious. He doesn't look like he's a Buster. It was dumb. But he's a shepherd, mostly shepherd. So he has hip issues. And as he got older, the hip dysplasia was so bad that he couldn't really climb up on anything. His legs were falling out from under him. We had to put him on a med that can give them liver damage. So now I have to get his blood checked every couple of months. That starts to become more expensive. That I can handle. It's expensive, but I'm lucky right now in this job that I've been incredibly blessed with that I can handle it.
Yeah.
The cancer that he was just diagnosed with, the melanoma, which, by the way, is in his mouth because dogs can get it inside their mouth, not just on their skin. That was a shock, and it was a big, big, big expense all at once and all of a sudden. And listen, I have 4 kids that love that dog. They're all away either at school or 2 of them are, well, my daughter's getting her PhD here in Manhattan area, and the other one is working in Manhattan in the Broadway world in music. And the other 2 are away at college, and I'm like, all I want to do is let this dog live for a year. So hopefully they can all see him when they come home for Christmas and spend some time with him. And many people, as you say, don't have the option to make a choice. This is why when I'm looking at Instagram, my algorithm is completely filled with 3 things: cake, babies, and puppies. Or dogs. Not just puppies, but dogs. And I see a lot of videos of dogs that are left in shelters as they get older because people can't afford to take care of them, to make that choice. Can I afford to give my dog the care it needs? And I hate that. I hate that people are left with that choice because a lot of people are putting off having babies right now because of the state of the world. And the animal really is their family. Yeah. That's the thing they care for, the thing that they love. Yeah. So dogs, cats, and also in the study that the company did, it's Synchrony that backed the Care credit card that gives you the opportunity to pay for their care. And by the way, put off paying some of the big percentages that you have to pay back. The VIG. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, the VIG, yeah.
That's really what the cost is off the top. So if you could put that off and just use the card to be able to plan a little bit for these things that have no way to plan for. Right?
Yeah.
You have that big cost, but now you can use this card and you can arrange it so that you can pay it off in time in a way that your budget can afford.
I think it's important because a lot of times, a lot of families have to make a decision between a little bit of the unexpected diagnosis of cancer, right?
Yeah.
And do I treat my dog or cat or whatever animal you have,
or pay
for
my
cancer,
bills,
or pay my mortgage,
right?
Or pay my rent.
Yeah,
and a lot
and
of
you know
times,
what the choice is going to be.
you
gotta have a roof over your kid's head.
And it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, but having this could help. How does one sign up for this or get
Well, you go to Synchrony. You can also go to Instagram. There's a post on my page right now, Lisa Ann Walter, LisaAnnWalter, that will also link in Care Credit, which has its own page on Instagram. You can go directly to that. And if you want to look at the study for what is just done this year, there was one 3 years ago, but this has been updated with the raise in costs between even in the last 3 years of what it is to take care of household pets and what they call pocket pets, which are the little ones like Sweet Cheeks, the guinea pig on Abbott, and other small animals like that. You can go to Pet Lifetime of Care 2025, Pet Lifetime of Care 2025.com, and you can look at the study because they found in the study that 8 out of 10 people underestimate how much it is going to cost to take care of an animal for the lifetime of its care.
Thank you for that. With that remaining time that we have, let's have a little, not fun, but let's
You gonna
go.
quiz me?
Yeah. No. I kind of want to go through.
I was hoping.
Yeah. No. I want to do like just a makeup case study, right? On the fly, right? You didn't plan for this, but like if someone really cares about pets and really wants to make sure that insurance for animals could be affordable, what advice would you give them in terms of how they can help advocate for that, right? Like who they talk to, where would they go if this is something they care about, which is animals?
Well, I think that, first of all, starting with this study is not a bad idea because then you can look and see what different animals cost. And also know this, that different dogs have different lifespans, right? One of the dogs that I was always in love with was a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh, beautiful.
But having them in California is probably not fair to the dog. It's really great to reach out to people that you know or research it yourself. What breed of dog is better for your house? And you don't have to pay a lot of money. And in fact, anybody that loves animals will tell you, please go to a shelter if you can and pick up a dog that or a cat or anything that really needs your care and your help that might not be purebred. They're usually healthier. Yeah. But do the research first. Check and see what kind of cost is going to be connected with that animal. Definitely look into getting some kind of care credit card, even if it's not this, some kind, so that you have a way to space out payments over the years and get ahead of the game.
Yeah. Do you think this is something elected officials would care about?
I don't know. I mean, listen, you know what's so weird is I was just on the Hill because I'm the chair of the ERA coalition. That's one of the other things that I do, and I care about it, marching for the ERA since I was a little kid. Yeah. And I went and I talked to legislators that I truly respect, like Jamie Raskin. And pretty much the feeling right now is, let's get through where we are right now, and then we'll worry about individual rights. Like, I think they're overwhelmed right now.
Yeah. Well, audience, I think one tip that Lisa just gave us is research. Yeah. And I think whatever cause you care about is find the research and have the data. Data helps. You can be your own individual lobbyist. That's all lobbyists do. They bring the incredible mounds of research to the Hill and present it in front of the senators and the representatives who don't have time to read up on these studies. And the more you can equip your elected official on the local level, the state level, and the national level with causes you care about and connected to data, the more likely they'll be able to move.
I think that's absolutely
if animals
true.
Is your thing, find the data and then figure out what you care about.
There's no reason why we can't advocate for animals at the same time. It's just if they're going to do it.
I always tell people if that's what you care about, do it, because the cavalry isn't coming to save you. You have to take onus on yourself and advocate for the things that you care about, or else it isn't going to get picked
And in the smaller picture, how many kids do you know that love helping take care of animals? Go to your local shelter, volunteer. There are dogs to walk.
Yeah, teaches empathy.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence.
100%.
Yeah. Lisa, this has been amazing getting to know you. You did not disappoint.
Aww.
Sometimes some guests disappoint, but you did not disappoint whatsoever.
I
You exceeded expectations. Your energy is warm. I can't wait to have you come back. And we didn't even talk about Abbott Elementary, which is hilarious, but I love
It's a really
Abbott
funny show. Watch
Elementary.
it.
It's funny. You're hilarious.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the joy that you guys make
You're
on
welcome.
Abbott Elementary. Until next time.